for having me on, guys. This is awesome. I love gear, love talking all about it. So yeah, this is going to be really fun.
A lot of this equipment we're talking about is, it can be used for musicians and content creators in general, if you're a YouTuber.
And I've shot probably 90% of my show on this little camera.
I love you guys. Chris, you're just amazing. Jim, so are you. You guys are the best hosts ever, I think.
Just stop, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dealcasters Live. Jim, we're going live many times this week. It's starting to feel good. We're getting those reps in like we tell everybody to do. So if you're watching us on all of the other tubes, and Jim, I got a feeling we're going to have a lot of viewers that are here for our guest because he has massive followings, not only on Amazon, but on YouTube and on Twitch and on all the tubes. Know Ross Brandon. So he's got a lot of fans that are on all of these other places. And so you're probably wondering what this big circle is in the middle of our screen telling everybody to unmute. That's because on Amazon, we're muted. Can you believe they did that to us? So we've got to tell people to, when they click on our show, to unmute, and so they can hear the buttery smooth sound of Jim Fuhs, Fusion Marketing, doing marketing the Marine Corps way. What's up today, man? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Can you believe that it's already like May the 6th? I mean, we were just celebrating May the 4th the other day, having a little fun with our Star Wars stuff. You know, shout out to my friend Mike Alton, who's going to be on here next month. He's a huge Star Wars nerd like us as well. Actually, maybe a fun fact, Mike Alton actually likes Star Trek more than Star Wars, but he's known more for
I was going to say, you wouldn't know that from all the stuff you hear. I thought it was all about Star Wars. You know what? You know, Star whatever. I'm all about the stars. So if you missed our show, you know, you can catch it on Amazon on replay, and we're going to show you where to go. But, you know, Jim, what did they miss? They missed a theremin demonstration. Yes. The world's oldest electronic instrument. You know those old sci-fi flicks where you hear this? That's an instrument. In fact, I've got one sitting right over here, but I don't have it plugged up, so we're not going to. You know, we're not doing a theremin.
No music.
We're going to talk about making money on your live stream.
Yes.
Speaking of live stream, and speaking about here on Amazon and getting here. If you're over on these other tubes and you're like, well, how do I get to Amazon to watch you guys where the party is and where our friends here are joining us here in the chat? We make it easy for you. All you got to do is open up a browser and type in dealcasters.live. So if you type in dealcasters.live, you're here. And it's just that easy. And the reason why we do it is to make it easy for people to watch our live show. So if you're interested in getting a .live, we're going to have this on the ticker below, but we just want you to know that we've got a deal from our friends at name.com, and you can get a .live for $1.99. That's right, $1.99. Kind of, I mean, you come here for deals on Amazon. This is the deal. Name.com/live. The promo code is GetLive, and for $1.99, you could have what? Grogu.live, butteryvoice.live, what other .live you've got. But anyway, that's the deal for you. You know, it's really for us getting people over to our show on Amazon. And so if you just want to tell people you're going live, you don't want to tell them you're going live on 5,000 places. You just say, go here. And it makes it easy. If you're on Clubhouse, you're on Twitter Spaces, you could just say, go to dealcasters.live. And everybody knows where to go. So that's the housekeeping for today. Jim, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our guest who's backstage having some cookies and milk.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So first of all, extremely excited to have Ross Brand join us here on Amazon today. Ross is now doing his latest project. It's about how to monetize your live stream, and what a better person to be speaking about it. I mean, Ross has been in the live streaming business for quite a while. In fact, it's interesting how Ross Brand has had an influence on myself as a live streamer. first of all, I was watching an episode where Ross Brand was on with Miss Eileen Smith, and they were talking about these live streaming products. And one of them happened to be this company called StreamYard. Maybe you've heard of it. So I went and checked it out, and within a very short period of time, I think this is about February of 2019, that Tim and I switched over from a previous product we had been using to StreamYard. Have been there ever since with the Tim and Jim show. We use it to stream here on Amazon. So that was kind of that first thing. Well, then I got to meet Ross in person at Social Media Week Lima, once again, right? So many years ago, it seems like 2019, before the big C, and got to meet Ross, hang out with Ross. What a great guy! We had a great time. We were talking about Alexa flash briefings, which, by the way, his flash briefing is here in the carousel if you want to check that out with Livestream Universe. And we've been, I feel like that's when Ross and I became friends, and then part of the reason that we're here today, Ross put out a YouTube video last July explaining how to apply for the Amazon Influencer Program. And literally within, 20 minutes of following his directions, here, we got started with Dealcasters Live. And so we had hoped to get Ross on a little bit earlier this year, but unfortunately, something got in Ross's way, I think. And, but he's now back up to speed, and we're really excited to get to have him on today, because we're going to be talking about his event he's got coming up, which I think we're signed up to attend. It's going to be a great thing for people that want to learn about live streaming and monetizing with some amazing speakers. But before we get into all that, let's bring on the man. I won't say he's a myth. I'll just say the man, the legend, Ross Brand.
Wow,
What's up, Ross?
that's some introduction. Oh my God. I was thinking while I was listening to you that, that video that I had put out about Amazon Live and all, I probably should have watched it myself and been more active. But it's really wonderful what you guys have done on this platform. You've been pioneers, and you've really created a show out of it and made an art form out of going live on Amazon. Anybody can go on and say, hey, you want a mouse? Here's a mouse. Here, you want a glass of water?
Right.
Okay, I'll say. But to go on and entertain people and inform them about different areas and different products, and actually talk to the people who create those products, it's really, really wonderful what you guys have done, and you've really carved out a space for yourself as leaders in the live streaming community through your work here on Amazon. So I'm really excited to be here, and nothing was going to get in my way today.
Thank you, Ross. Yeah, just know that your thumbprint is on whatever we do here. Yeah, and I mean, I think lots of times we churn out content, and you just kind of throw it over the fence and hope sometime somewhere it makes an impact on someone, because there's so much that we all do, whether it's live or like this video I think was recorded that we had seen. And you just never know. Sometimes it takes years to hear something back, but I always feel like it's important to let that person know that they did that, because, as a live streamer, as a podcaster, sometimes that little thank you, or that little, hey, this touched me, this made an impact on me, this allowed me to do this. It sometimes means the world to people.
Well, you know what? It just really means a lot just watching that you were able to take the video and go with it. And then everything you've done from that point on has been your own initiative and your own consistency. And just, I think for Jim, I would probably say from doing the Tim and Jim show for so long, you got your... You got your reps in now, and now It's like, okay, a new opportunity came along. Now I can take everything I learned, and, you start here and you go to here. Now this time you come right in at another level, and you guys have just taken off here. And it's also less crowded in many ways, because on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, lots of shows, lots of interviews. But to bring that skill set over to Amazon Live, where a lot of people were just doing their product rundown. Let's flip
Right.
through the carousel. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. People got to learn how to sell, and they got to learn how to communicate about products, because that's probably how we're going to be doing business. But bringing over the show concept here, it's really just been amazing to watch. So again, congratulations on everything you've done. You guys have really set the pace for other people to look to and say, this is what's possible on Amazon Live. You can bring over high quality content and high quality conversations and interviews and still sell and move products and make some money at the same time. You've got some really cool features here with the carousel, and there's products there. You see something you like, possible I recommended it, go ahead. These
Right?
guys deserve the commission.
Go keep
ahead.
selling, Ross. Keep selling. Yeah.
Go. Yeah. Well, and Ross, I tell you what's fun, right? Like we're having this interview with you and the folks that are watching, because part of it, like Chris and I have talked about since the beginning, was we wanted to be different, and we want to teach people. And so even as an example, we're here talking about how to, we're going to be listening to you about how you can monetize your live stream, right? Because for a lot of people, it takes those reps, it takes that journey. It's not going to happen overnight. Maybe for some people, right? If they had a built-in audience somewhere else.
Right.
But I think, on the flip side, like Chris and I had a blast the other night because it was just the two of us. And so we can kind of play with formats. So we were, I had an Oculus Quest on my head, and we were live streaming it to a Facebook group, and then bringing that live stream in through StreamYard into the presentation. And so people are watching me do do the whole 360 virtual reality thing. And, 3 years ago when I started live streaming, I would have never imagined that I would be doing something like that on Amazon. And so, we all have these opportunities to learn. I mean, you're always diving into new stuff, better stuff. We're talking about, you've got the Mac Mini now, and that maybe is going to let you do some things you couldn't do before as technology advances. And, and so we got these people that are watching. We have some of our regular, not only viewers, but fellow creators like Phil Hill and Dan Jordan watching. And we learn from each other, right? We see what people are doing. Phil Hill, I don't know, Ross, if you knew this, he may be the first guy to live stream to Amazon while riding a Harley, right?
Oh, wow.
So,
Isn't that awesome?
people are getting really, really creative with these things. And, this whole this whole live shopping thing it's in the US, right? It's already big over in Asia. I think we're just scratching the surface. And so, live streamers, deserve to, earn a living, especially if they're doing this as much as some people are doing. And I think that's where I think this new program that you've created, this new vision you have is very timely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a topic that's often uncomfortable. It's easier to have an event or a show and say, this is about community and it's about creativity. And of course it is. And we enjoy that part of it as much as anyone. But there comes a time when people have to make money at this. I mean, it's expensive to do. It's time consuming. And people are good at it, and they're providing value. The platforms are making money. The services we subscribe to, you got to get internet, got to have a streaming service, got to have gear. You've got to have a lot of different things. And, of course, the platforms are taking our content and they're monetizing that with ads. They're also selling our data and getting a lot more data on us to sell through what we talk about, what we do when we go live, who shows up where. So there's nothing wrong with live streamers using the platform to monetize, whether that's monetizing your talent as a host or as a producer or a consultant, or perhaps using it to interest people in your business. There's so many different ways people can use live streaming. You write a book, you can talk about the book on live streaming, but you can also use live streaming to create a book. by creating the content, and then come back to the live stream and sell it. So, we're going to go at the event, we're going to go through like 15, 17 speakers, and each one is really mastered a different niche. Each one has an area where they've kind of cracked the code on what it takes to monetize, because this is really new. There's no book out there that says this is what you do in 2021, and by the time it's written, it'll be different, right? I mean, the thing that I try and relate to people, and I think the better books and articles and shows, you teach basically the things that don't go out of time, right? That they never go out. That the basis of interviewing and talking and growing an audience and promoting, that's all the same. But what changes are the platforms, how the audience responds to new features. Do they embrace it? Do they not embrace it? Do they like when you sell products on a certain platform? Do they not want to hear about that? That you have to kind of feel. But the ability to do a show, I mean, like I was saying before, Jim got a lot of reps in doing a weekly show and then doing other shows, being a guest on shows, co-hosting. And so when the opportunity opened up here to do a show on a platform where, one, there wasn't the number of people doing shows, so you guys stand out immediately, but then two, also monetize it with a carousel below and the ability for people to buy products and you make money from it. And so I think because live streaming has been a lifeline for a lot of brick and mortar businesses that would have gone out of business. I mean, there are a lot of businesses where the business owner never thought about cameras and microphones and any of this stuff. Our customers come into the store and we talk to them and we show them the product. Well, what happens when there's a lockdown and the customer can't come into the store or is afraid to come into the store? And people are really creative, and they came up with all different ways to put entertainment out there and at the same time interest people in their products. And that's kind of what you got to do with live streaming. It's got to work on a couple of levels, right? It's got to be something that you enjoy watching for watching it, but at the same time, it also has some sort of connection to your business or a way that you're monetizing it, because it's not free to do this. And if everybody else is making money from it, I think live streamers should too. And I think we're all a little bit behind because we don't have the built-in system that the platform has for making money, that the businesses that have been around and are creating, physical tools or service, SaaS products or whatever. How do you monetize your creativity? How do you monetize your knowledge? And it's coming more and more online, particularly with online courses and online education and people looking for more affordable ways to get the skills they need on their own time schedule quickly. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and I think it's a matter of people breaking through that hesitation, right? Yep. Because I know for me, it's like my first thing is always, was it a good show? Not how many units did I sell, or did anybody join my email list? Like, did I deliver for my audience? But then we also have to look at business metrics, right? Not how many views, not how many shares, not how many comments, but did we get closer to landing a client? Did we get closer to a customer? Did somebody sign up for our email list? Did somebody set up an appointment for an exploratory call? Did somebody go ahead and buy, whatever it is that you're selling? And all those metrics are going to be the big ones in the future. Nobody's really going to care whether you had 10 people watching or 10 million. What they're going to care about is, did somebody buy something? Did somebody convert? Or did you raise the awareness to an audience so that then in the future, when they need that product or that service, they know where to go to get it. And that's a value in a live stream where you may not sell, but you've raised major awareness of what's out there for people who need it, and you built that relationship with them. So I feel a little preachy here, but I just feel like
go on and preach.
I feel like, you know, and I'm learning myself, right? It's something we all like. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to say that. I don't want to write that letter like that. You know, I just, everything wants to be pure and art and everything else. But the reality is, even an artist has to put food on the table.
That's right.
And live streamers have to get comfortable doing this, because you know what? We should have an advantage. This is an extremely powerful e-commerce platform, maybe the most powerful way for those who figure out how to use it.
God, there's so much to unpack there. And I want to go back to some of what you said, Ross, was so important, and what you're talking about here in your live summit that's coming up, that we're going to go to. And just so everyone knows, this is coming up on the 15th, right? And it
Absolutely.
is, you can go, and it's free. And it's monetizelive.video. You're also going to get a playbook, which I thought was awesome, which we should also do. But you know, Ross, what you were talking about was, you know, and we talked about this with Mitch Jackson when we had him on the show, who's also speaking at this event. When he wrote the guide to social media, that was a number of years ago. Of course, social media platforms have changed, you know, since last month. Right. But what he put in that book was something that you could use years from now. It was not about like, here's what's happening right now on Twitter, and here's what's happening right now on whatever platform he was talking about. And I think that's what you're talking about here. Is you've been doing live streaming since the webcam was invented. And so, a lot of people need to know that. A lot of people need to go to Livestream Universe and just understand that the gentleman on our screen has, won awards and has done, you're too humble to say this, I know, Ross, but you've seen probably 3 gazillion microphones being talked about being the best microphone ever. And everybody thinks about the tech. And our show's called Don't Fear the Gear, because too many people are thinking about hosting platforms and cameras and all of these things. And they're forgetting about what you just talked about, which was the content. It's the most important thing to get the reps in, like Jim was talking about. Just get going. Don't worry about having that beautiful microphone that's in front of Ross Brand's face available in the carousel here on Amazon, which I have some definite gas going on here.
I started with this one, which is the same one I believe Jim's using. I used this for the first 2 to 3 years. I was live streaming, and while this I love, the difference isn't like overwhelming, right? So. Yeah. For $60 or whatever, $70, I don't know if you're supposed to say prices on that.
No, you can't. You can. Today, it is $64 for the Samsung Q2U. I mean, and it's Chris is using it. I use it. It's an amazing microphone.
That's the biggest difference for going from your built-in webcam, your built-in laptop microphone, or some other inexpensive or maybe even more expensive microphone that picks up a lot of noise. This is the biggest improvement you'll make, and then everything else is you're kind of doing it for yourself, and it's small. It's small steps, but getting a good microphone. That's the one thing I did, and a good microphone doesn't have to be an expensive microphone. But I started. You talk about not fearing the gear. I started with the built-in camera in my laptop. I was in the dark, no lights, not much anyway. I had 2 doors behind me. You saw the doorknobs, the light switch, lots of distracting stuff. But I kept doing shows, and that's, I had a time, and I went live, and I connected with people and did interviews, and so it's not the gear, right? As long as your audio is understandable and clear, I would say if you do nothing else, get a decent microphone, put on some headphones or earbuds, and you're probably most of the way where you need to go. Now, with everybody doing this now and everybody kind of stepping up their game a little bit, you might want to get an external webcam. If you've been using an external webcam for a while, There are inexpensive mirrorless cameras that'll take you up a level, or, use a past phone. You have a good iPhone or Samsung phone. Use not the one you're currently using, because you don't want to have to take it off and put it back up, but use one from a couple of years ago. That's a heck of a camera, better than any webcam you'll get at the store.
Absolutely. And Ross, I think too, right? Because you started in radio, correct?
That's right.
And so you were already kind of used to producing shows, but you weren't in front of a camera yet. And what I think that we're not all have come to the realization of, like, and every once in a while, Chris and I sit back and are like, wow, we literally have a channel, like Dealcaster's live channel on Amazon. You can tune into our channel. You can watch our past episodes. And, that's where you could say in the old days that the television had that advantage. Well, now not so much, right? People are cutting the cord. People are enjoying and watching real people having real conversations, and nobody's saying, oh, well, wait a minute, Ross, you can't talk about that because that's not what we've got written down here. You can, that's I think the excitement to me about this, and the fact that, you've gathered all these really amazing people to talk to us, and all, because, like you said, we're always learning, right? If this is the thing about live streaming, it's as much as the fundamentals, right? It's the audio, it's the cameras, and the, the better internet you can have, the better you don't have to worry about other things. But it's fundamentals, right? And how do you get better at the fundamentals? It's like, at least the three of us will know who John Wooden is, right? But get those reps in. How do you get better at interviewing? How do you get better at presenting things? How do you get better at looking at the camera? It takes practice, right? Go back, look at the tapes. I mean, do we even use tapes anymore? And see, what am I doing wrong, and what can I do to improve myself? And I think, you've seen it. I mean, you've been a pioneer in your own right with this stuff. I mean, you had a great show, StreamYard Connect, that used to enjoy watching, and you had some amazing guests on there. I mean, so I think it's exciting, Ross, that you're continuing to do that by taking this next step with the Monetize live.video program.
Yeah, there's so much room for everybody to grow, because when you think about TV, even radio, although radio is a little much more do-it-yourself than TV is, but in terms of the gear and things like that, the average on-air person isn't like, oh, I want this microphone, I want my compression turned to here, I want my, put a filter on this. No, I mean, you go, whatever microphone they have, you sit down and you talk, basically. Now, if you're Rush Limbaugh or somebody like that, then you can have your gold microphone and all. But Howard Stern's got his expensive thing that he moves around. But if you're an average broadcaster, or even somebody who's big in a decent sized market, they're not setting things up just for you. They're setting it up for the whole station and what works, and for how people listen in their cars. And then you get to TV, and you've got people handling every aspect of it, other than perhaps your writing, perhaps depending on what type of station you work for, you may be doing some of your own shooting. But here we're everything. Like, we're coming up with the concept, we're booking the guest, we're doing the graphics, we're figuring out how to do the lighting, we've got the background. There'll be somebody in a TV station who just does the green screen and chroma key, and they're like, that's their specialty. And somebody else who does the graphics, like, just puts the logo where it's supposed to go, and the text for a specific guest. Every single thing you're seeing that's a part of this, unless you guys are hiding a team somewhere, you guys are doing it all. I'm doing it all. And so, of course, there's always room to learn and always room to grow. And if you think you've gotten there, you can always get better, because nobody is an expert at every one of these things. right? I mean, even when it comes to gear, I know that I'm much more comfortable on the audio side than I am on the video side, but I'm getting better. I'm learning. I'm certainly, you know, I've upped my game in the last year on the video side, going to a mirrorless camera and a green screen and LED lights, and I've still got a ways to go. Still got to look at that camera a little bit more than I do, but it's all a work in progress, and that's it. And even at the highest levels of broadcasting, it's often trade-offs. We use this microphone, it picks up their voice better, but then it'll also pick up some room noise. If we use this microphone, we won't get any room noise, but their voice doesn't you know, everything's a trade-off, right?
Yeah. I think it's important because I believe you're building a community here too, and what you're talking about is so important to, you know, because sometimes as a podcaster or live streamer, things you can almost feel lonely sometimes. You're maybe by yourself. You're firing up a camera. You're doing a show. Is there anybody here? And then you're just kind of waiting for some feedback. I think it's important to surround yourself with people that not only can support you, but give you some constructive criticism. And you have to build that tough skin and take it for what it's worth. Like you're saying, get yourself better, get the reps in, surround yourself with people like that. And also be a lifelong learner on this stuff. You know, go to monetizelive.video and get a free summit from some of the best speakers on the planet that can talk about this stuff. And why not do that and take the time to do that to get better? Then you're not worried about your content as much, and you're getting those reps in. So I love what you're building here. Can we talk a little bit about the summit? Can we talk about like some of the speakers that you got? Because I'm like, we haven't gotten there yet, and this is like a huge laundry list of people. I want to pop up the graphic here, so just so you guys can see this. And this is happening. It's Saturday, May 15th. Which is happening next week. And there's your link to get free tickets to this thing. There are tons of people that, God, I'm gonna let you talk about who you'd love to talk about here, Ross. But I mean, this is a laundry list of folks that are just massive in the live streaming industry.
I mean, I'd love to talk about all of them. They're all amazing, but in the sake of time, let me start with Winnie's son is a phenomenal financial advisor and prolific live streamer. She goes live, I think, almost every day or every weekday.
Sounds about right.
With NASDAQ. She's a host for NASDAQ TV, and she's also one of the Forbes' top women wealth advisors in the country, working with high net worth clients. So she's a perfect person who understands live streaming and understands the monetization side of business and what it takes to build a business and what it takes to build wealth and keep wealth online. So I think for anybody kind of transitioning from creative to business, you know, really looking to go from, okay, I enjoy doing a show to there's opportunities to make money here online with live streaming. I think you're going to get a lot of the things that are going to help you from her talk. Another person who was my very first guest that I ever had on a show is Jennifer Quinn. And she's somebody else, Jenny Q, who just dove into it and learned on the fly. She had never done anything like this before, and she was going live every single day doing interviews. And since then, you know, from all that experience, she then went over to Facebook Live when that came along and did the first variety show on Facebook Live. She wrote a book about live streaming, which is still an excellent game plan for anybody who wants to get started. I've looked back at it a few times. It's just a wonderful, wonderful book. I read it cover to cover when it first came out. So she's got impeccable credentials as a live streamer. But on the business side, she's doing consulting for companies that are looking to integrate live streaming into their marketing and their outreach. So there's that aspect of it. Phil Kluba, who I went live with today, I connected with him through Live U, which is a hardware encoder that you see live streamers sometimes and people in the broadcasting business take with them instead of bringing a satellite truck like in the old days, you just take the live view and you send it right from your camera and microphone right on back to a station, or you send it back to live view and they boost it out to social media. You go live right on the spot. But Phil is a phenomenally creative producer, and how he works with different companies on the marketing side and also producing the actual broadcast and the creative ways he comes up to use live streaming. It's not always the main event, what he's doing. It's, okay, we're going to have a band release a video. How do we use live streaming to get people to show up for that premiere, get them excited that they can have some engagement with the band and the other fans and so forth. So so that's another possibility, right? You guys have been live streaming for a long time. Jim, I know, has moved into producing live streams for other people, as I have, advising people on how they can use it on behalf of their business. So Phil's a great resource on that. Jenny Q's going to talk about that. Mitch, who you mentioned, is a perfect example of a business professional who shouldn't be live streaming, right? No, everybody's a lawyer doesn't need
right,
this nonsense,
exactly,
right?
Hey, wait a minute. Get Mitch Jackson on the phone.
A lawyer doesn't need to do this. I mean, you got your,
Right.
you know, you got to go into court and argue and write your briefs, and what are you doing on video? Except that he's an entrepreneur at heart. He runs his law firm. He also has other business interests. He's always kind of trying to stay on the forefront of things. And by diving into the social media live streaming area, he also has become known all around the world. And people say, I need a lawyer in California. And Mitch Jackson knows. Or I need somebody to talk about some social media issue that I don't know anything about. And neither do any of these other. Oh, Mitch knows. And
Right.
he's got a group. If he doesn't have time for me, he's got an entire group of people who are lawyers and learning about social media issues and using social media to market and promote their law firm. So that's another way. John Ferreira is going to speak. He founded, he like pioneered the CRM, the customer relationship management software. And he started with like $5,000, I think it was. And without taking VC money, without spending a lot on marketing, he grew that business to, I think, 100 million or nearly 100 million in revenue in a fairly short time, and sold it. And now he's back running a company called Nimble. And that's something that integrates for the, CRM started out being for big companies more than they were for. Now he's got a solution that the average person can take advantage of that integrates with your social media and your Gmail or your Microsoft 365. So he can talk about how he used social selling and influencer marketing, all these different areas that live streamers are primed to be able to either be the influencer marketer or use these social connections and the influence of others to spread the word about your business. I mean, so many talented people. Louise McDonald, I'll just mention another thing people don't think of a lot of times, fundraising through live streaming. She raised $35,000 in one live stream.
Wow.
So there's potential there for that in that area. And if you want to throw out a name or somebody, I'm happy to hit. I don't have the graphic in front of me, but I'm happy to talk about what they're going to talk about, or you have a subject. Of course, Uscreen just joined us as a sponsor. I'm super proud because their business model, their mission is video monetization, helping creators monetize their videos and sell videos. And PJ, who's the founder and CEO, is going to talk about how people, his customers, who he's seen do it, are selling courses and creating membership groups in order to monetize live streaming and monetize video on demand, and also the role of live streaming can play in lead generation. So that's another phenomenal speaker who I can't wait to hear from.
Such a wide variance.
And I just added Mitch's and Jennifer's books in the carousel. I'm glad you brought them up.
Nice.
See, you can do that here on Amazon.
I'll tell you, somebody else who's got a book that just came out recently is Jan Koch. He's from Germany, and he wrote the book on virtual summits. In fact, I read his book as I should have read it before I started planning this, but I read it along the way. And then he's also got a course and a program on it, and his program is a sponsor of the summit. But I've learned a tremendous amount from him. And virtual summits, I mean, everything's going virtual now. It's also another opportunity to perhaps monetize, or it's a link in that chain that, you know, you get known, you get emails, you make connections, you meet influential folks, and then maybe you have a different strategy to monetize at the end. But it's definitely something that moves people along, and it's why, as much as I can, I always say yes when somebody asks me to speak at a virtual summit, because it's just a great way to get your name out there and to explore new ideas that you might use on your live streams, you might use in other talks. And sometimes, like you mentioned, PodFest, which is just one of my favorite events of the year, probably my favorite, you know, to speak at. It was just like such an honor to speak at that event. And you talk about an event that, like, yeah, it's amazing in person, but it's pretty darn amazing online too. Yeah. I mean, you talk about somebody who's Chris Kremitzos has pulled together so many of the elements of the in-person event using tools and apps and community, things like the Huva app, which is probably a very premium solution, but then using Zoom and live streaming and you know, meetups and all different ways, you know, letting people take control and set up their own sessions, their own meetups. And so there's a lot that goes on with that community, and I think it's a great place to look as well for ideas.
Yeah, and you've got Phil Hill signed up. You've convinced him. So he's
excellent. Welcome, Phil.
Yeah, you touched on you know, the just a wide variance of people, and it's just there's so much to unpack there, which is great. You know, that it's free, and certainly you know, hopefully there's an option to get those recordings, be able to utilize that as well. So, you know, you spoke a little bit about Mitch and what he's done with live streaming, you know, and who would have thought that there would be such a thing as a live streaming lawyer, right?
Right.
Earlier this week, I was on a show, and we were interviewing an insurance salesman who has branded himself with live streaming, mostly on LinkedIn, and as you know, basically does hip hop, and you know, was an MC, and he has taken his personal brand and applied it to live streaming. And I think in the same way, I think a lot of people sort of say, I sell insurance, and so I'm in this box. I'm a lawyer. I'm in this box. But they treat it, Mitch and Daryl, who we spoke earlier this week, the bow tie guy, the notorious BTG, they treat it as like they're an influencer. I am an influencer insurance salesman. I am an influencer lawyer. They're treating this. They're saying, I may work for a firm, or I may work for Aflac, or I may work for whomever, but I'm taking my personal brand and I'm going to brand myself along with what I do for a living. And I think this opportunity for what you're building does just that, because it'll get it, you know, while you're talking about all these people, it's generating ideas for a lot of people that are like, well, geez, I didn't know I could do that. I'm this. Well, yeah, you could do that. You just fire up your camera and do what, you know, a lot of people are doing already.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's kind of come from a different background in this. You have somebody like Michael Kinney who's speaking, who has 30 years in broadcast television. He's been an actor. He's been a documentary filmmaker. I think if there's a role in video and television and film, Michael's had it at some point. So there's you see the talent just pours out, right? I mean, there's no question that he was meant to do online video, just as he's been, you know, amazing in doing linear television and film. But you have somebody like Coach Jenny, who, like the name, she's a coach, and she built her coaching business to a whole different level. She was seeing one-on-one clients and whatever, and all of a sudden she started live streaming and talking about, you know, and showcasing how she works with clients, doing some hot seat type of broadcast, doing some in a private Facebook group maybe, or in a, back then, Blab, you could turn off the recording and do it, you know, sort of like Clubhouse, except who knows what anybody's doing there. But the thing is, like, and her business took off because now people all over the world, not just word of mouth, but people can tune in and see how she relates to people, what a thought leader she is in her area. And, you know, she's grown to where she's then added coaching programs and events and now does group coaching and membership, and, you know, so that she can serve many more people, and her business has grown. And then you have a guy like Dale Roberts, who's all over social media. He's a live streamer. He's a podcaster. He's a YouTube star, I would say. And he picked the area of self-publishing and has gone all in. He first was doing fitness books, and now he's become an expert in Amazon and self-publishing on Amazon and self-publishing and author branding and all these different areas. So I think we all are a lot more complicated and come from a lot more different areas than we think, and a lot of the skills translate much more than we're giving credit for. Now, I probably couldn't, you know, go do surgery tomorrow or something like that.
Well, if you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express,
yes, that is true. And well, you know, there's a funny story about that, but I'll let the other our mutual contact tell that story if you hadn't heard it. But there actually is a story about somebody Jim and I know who stayed at a Holiday Inn Express and then was actually called into playing a role that a doctor might play, and everything turned out pretty good. So, but I don't know that I should tell that story. So Jim and I will talk off the air.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Ross. I mean, it's just great to see how excited you are about this and the passion that you're showing for this. And I mean, these are all amazing people. And I mean, it's just, even just thinking of all, you know, it's like you said, there's all these different things that we can do through live streaming that people just, you know, this opportunity wasn't there. You know, I mean, heck, this opportunity, Amazon wasn't even available 2 years ago for most people. And, you know, it's funny because I think sometimes when we talk to people about Amazon Live, you know, they're YouTubers, and it's kind of like, well, I'm on YouTube. It's like, okay, but do you have the subscribers and the view hours, and are you really making money? Mm-hmm. And it's like, sometimes we get caught in this, like, oh, well, I got to do what everybody else is doing. And I think that's where you're like saying, wait a minute, you know, we need to you need to take a look at what you're doing and make sure it's making sense. Because if you're, you know, it's what they call the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
And that's what I love about what you guys have done, because you didn't do what everybody else was doing. You created something unique that stands out on a platform most people didn't think about in terms of creating a more traditional kind of show. You went heavy in with the branding. You really went all in on it. And there's something to be said for that, because if you go all in, either you'll fail quickly or you'll hit on something because you've developed the skill set to really execute on it. And, you know, I'm just really, really thrilled for you guys, what you've created here, what you've accomplished, and how you've made this such a recognizable element of live streaming. You've made Dealcasters one of the shows that people just remember within the live streaming industry.
Oh,
and
we really
that's
appreciate
really
that.
really powerful.
Yeah, and it's you mentioned you're going to go all in, and you're either going to fail or trust me, there's been plenty of those fails. But if you don't take the effort and go, you'll never be able to find whatever success. And if success is financial for whomever, that's cool. And monetizing doesn't always mean getting rich. And I think you touched on it. It's like what we're doing isn't free. And sometimes you just want to keep the lights on, feed the family, pay for the microphones and the hosting and all of that stuff. And maybe you've got other ways to make even more money. Maybe it's just another avenue for you, another revenue stream for you. But it's not, you don't get successful from not doing anything. You got to try, you got to, and fail and get up and keep trying. And, we've got people like, Utechpia, who is one of these Amazon live streamers that goes multiple times a day. You want to talk about somebody that goes all in, you got to check out his stream, Ross, if you haven't already. But this guy's insane. I get tired just watching him. Does all kinds of stuff, fitness, video games and whatnot. And he's seeing your genuine excitement about live streaming. He can feel it. And I think that's one of the other things about live streaming, right, Ross, is like, you get on Clubhouse and listen, podcasting, Clubhouse. When I talk about podcasting, I'm just talking about audio only in this instance, Twitter Spaces. You can sometimes hear that energy and you could really, but it's a different thing than live streaming because, like Utechpia said, he can see and feel your energy. There's been interviews, I'm sure, over the years that you've had with people that when they're listening to it from an audio perspective, there's a different energy than when you're live and the camera's on.
Yeah, and in live, just in and of itself, any kind of live, but doing live where you're having a small conversation with one person, two people, there's just something about it and then the live feedback in the chat too. Don't forget about that, because live radio doesn't have that. Live TV is so scripted anyway, but it doesn't have that, and radio and TV are always taking breaks, right? We're not taking breaks. We're not stopping. And so you really do get into a flow with the conversation and this kind of long form content creation that you don't get in TV, where you have like, we're going to do the A block, then we're going to come back, we're going to talk about this in the B block, then we got to be out by 5 after, then we got to go into this in the C block, then we have the guest and the makeup, right? Like you may have thought of, okay, let's talk about 3 things with Ross. We'll talk about his live streaming background. We'll talk about the event coming up, and we'll chat a little bit about what's going on with Amazon Live. And then the conversation kind of goes where it goes. And if it's good, you just keep going with it. And if it slows down, then you pick another topic. Yeah. And then there's the chance that I say something that's like, oh, he really said that? Let's dig a little deeper on that, right?
Right.
So it's totally, there's a freedom to this that you don't have in these other mediums. And you don't have to get past any gatekeepers to do it.
Exactly.
Wow. That's like it equates to I'm not sure if you know Russ Johns, the Pirate Syndicate. Yeah. I mean, he talks about this all the time. This is like back in you being a former terrestrial radio person as well. It's like pirate radio. I mean, in a way, it's like, there are certain things you can't say and do on live video, right? You're going to get yanked.
Big Brother does have a say in what you say and do, and where you
exactly. But FC, there's a lot of things that pirate radio was known for, and that's like breaking bands, right? That these big radio stations wouldn't play, and so you have an opportunity to say, I'm going to create a brand, I'm going to do something, and then make your own way, as a pirate, so to speak.
It wasn't that long ago where if I wanted to look into a radio opportunity, I would have had to figure out where I'm going to find the studio to go in and record the demo. Now I can do it right here. Not that I'm necessarily looking for any radio opportunity, but if that time ever came, I could do my sportscast or my newscast or whatever it is. You know, hey, we need a 2-minute. We want you to talk about these 5 stories or whatever. Or I want to just put together my own reel and not have it be from, 15 years ago. I can just do it right here. I mean, it's unbelievable how much has changed and how accessible all this is. Whereas, in 2005, 2007, I was like, all right, can I get into the studio? Is there anybody around? Where can I go? Oh, I got a friend here. Maybe he'll let me, come in for a chat, when he's doing his show or whatever. And then I can, slip in the production room, pretend I'm making a phone call and record my demo. But what I'm saying is that, like, now we can do all this stuff from home. It's all above. It's all right there in front of you. We all have the same opportunities. The playing field has leveled. And as you mentioned earlier, with products like StreamYard, now anybody can do a professional-looking broadcast that's stable. I mean, it's their 3 pillars. It's beautiful. You don't have to spend 10 hours setting it up. You don't have to crop the video and convert the video to this format. And I mean, of course, you can use certain tools and take things to an incredible level. And if that's you, by all means, do it. But to have a good talking head show, a tool like StreamYard makes it possible for both a novice and an experienced broadcaster to have what they need in a fast time. And then it comes down to, are you putting content out there? Are you having the conversations that people want to hear, or are you not? It's not about anymore who knows where you plug this wire and how that fancy software runs or anything like that, because what you guys are doing here, this could be on TV. This could be on TV. It's no different than what they're doing on TV.
Who's watching TV?
I don't know.
Really?
I could be wrong because I don't watch. No. No, but I mean, yeah. The news channels and stuff, they'd have some sort of motion graphic going in the back to keep you like, oh, never leave here. And, they'd be teasing something coming up that doesn't turn out to be all that interesting, but it makes you stay for a while. But in general, right, like they're putting a lot of money in it. They're putting a lot of work. They're still doing it the same way. But then you saw the pandemic hit and guys and women broadcasting from home, and they couldn't get their audio right.
Oh my
They're
God.
sitting with the light behind them instead of in front of them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true. I mean, we've got a friend who's Memes for Togs is his Amazon page, and he brought this up on one of our live shows that we did with him, and he said the virtual live show is the new suit.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just see when someone is not prepared, they've got other people working behind the scenes, makeup and, get everything nice and pretty. And then they're showing up from their homes and they're like, they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
It's like you've got to jump in and go all in on this thing, because it's not going away in terms of you being able to at least do something from a hybrid perspective, in real life as well as virtual.
Right, and the more expensive equipment you have, the more fancy your setup is, the bigger the fall when it doesn't go right, right? Like, I always say, don't go out and get yourself, like, all this expensive equipment because your first show isn't going to be that good. And then you're going to look around, you're going to go, I just spent $3,000 for this? This piece of garbage I just did today? And now you're going to be, like, feeling horrible about yourself.
Yeah.
But if you didn't spend any money on it and the first show isn't good, you're like, okay, let's dip our toe in the water again tomorrow and maybe it'll get better. But you didn't set yourself up with these expectations that, you're going to come out and have a broadcast that they're going to send to the Museum of Radio and Television the first time you went live.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? The Museum of Radio and Television?
I don't know. But I used to say that like if we had a bad show or something. Not a bad, but like it wasn't our best. It was okay, but it wasn't our best. I'd say like I don't think they're going to send this one to the Museum of Radio and Television.
Oh my gosh. But but it's so true, right? This goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Ross. It's like this production is being run by Chris and Jim, right? It's not like we have people. And so like these professionals that you would see on these different networks are like, they don't have their people and they had no idea how to broadcast. And just to us, things that through the reps have become basic, right? Like you got to do this. I got to make sure my microphone works. I got to make sure that, Chris has had this happen probably more so than me. It's like, all right, sons, no one's playing Xbox because I'm about to go on the internet and I can't afford for my Wi-Fi to get all messed up. Just these little things. And it's just, I still think when you still see them, right? Because sure, there's people are starting to get back in studio, but even they're still having these issues. And, and it's like, or I always cringe as Chris does too. When we go on Zoom and people are using their Zoom virtual backgrounds and they got their camera looking up their nose and it's horrible.
The funniest thing I think is like, and celebrities do this a lot. They put the phone on the table and it's like looking right up.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
Millions of dollars. You can't hire somebody to come put the phone on a tripod if you're too late.
Right. And none of that stuff takes a lot of money. You just need light. So go grab a lamp. If you don't need a $600 ring light, if you don't have light in your room, go, take the shade off of a lamp and put it in front of you and just make sure the camera is that whatever is eye level. And you're like you said, try to make sure you're, know where the camera is so you can look into it and not be like this, trying to talk to somebody the entire time, which you see as well. None of that costs money.
And the thing is, we're able to recover quicker and get on quicker. Like, I'm fine with just like show up on Thursday at 4:30. Okay, see you then, right?
Yeah,
it's not like hair and makeup. I got my own lighting crew here. Let me see. What are we gonna? Let's go over some talking points. What else we got? We gotta get this in. What we want to call your segment? Let's have a meeting and convene that. And then I have to run it by my PR people, make sure they massage this and. Oh, the choice of graphics. Let me go to the graphics folks and see which card about your event would be the right one to put. And maybe we could focus group to see which of your speakers you should promote. I mean, a lot of work goes into putting out bad stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you talked about hair and makeup. The only one here on the screen that gets hair and makeup is Jim. He's got a team. And we did have a moment for graphics. So this is a segue because this, we did have a graphic moment here. But in case you either have just joined us or you're waiting again for this amazing graphic, because it is pretty awesome when you think about and see all these amazing people. Winnie Sun, I see Steph Kaplan, Mitch Jackson. I see somebody named Ross Brand, of course, Jenny Q, and a lot of others. Just, this is free. May 15th. And it's easy to go to monetizelive.video, get your free ticket, and you get a playbook as well, right, Ross? Which I thought was that was a nice touch to the, it's a massive PDF that was delivered to me. So that's a really great idea to be able to utilize that during and after as well.
And I'm revising it right now with the new speakers and new sponsor, and so everybody will, whether you signed up 10 weeks ago or you sign up tomorrow, everybody will get version 2. And then if there's other changes, I'll update it again all the way up to the event. So
Ross, a question too is, so I know you're doing this on the 15th, but is this something you're planning to do, I don't know, quarterly, semi-annually, where you're going to have this this summit?
Well, because it helps me get through it, I keep telling myself I'll never do it again. No. No, I hope that this goes really well and that I will want to do it again and that I will do it again. But I'm just not, like, my mindset is let's get the first one and make it as good as possible. It's really, really a fun thing to be doing. It's a little stressful, obviously, doing all this stuff and managing all these things, but I'm really excited about the possibility. And I'm doing something that's different, right? Most events, don't pay the speakers and they charge the attendees. I'm not charging the attendees and I'm paying each of the speakers. Now, they're not going to buy their vacation home in San Diego off of what I'm paying, but there's events that are a heck of a lot bigger in terms of what they bring in advertising revenue and so forth that aren't paying people. So I think that's the other thing we gotta not only be monetizing for ourselves, but we gotta be looking at it the same way. People are taking their Saturday, they're gonna come and speak, they're gonna deliver, strategies and information that they've worked to develop. They deserve to be paid for it. And so if this event is successful and I'm able to sell some of those tickets and, we were able to get some sponsors who've contributed. Hopefully each event we can pay speakers more. And of course, I would love to have you guys, if we do this, a future event, come and go big time into Amazon Live. You guys are setting the pace and have a session on that, or how you can monetize selling platforms, what kind of content works, because it's not always what people would expect works on Amazon Live. You guys have shown the value of doing a show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I love how you're having a monetize your live stream event, and you're actually doing that with the people who are speaking. Like they're monetized, right? You're giving them the money, but it's like, we've spoken, and we got a virtual slap from Lois Kramer, who was on our show, for speaking at so many events for free. And, we had done that but you get something out of it. You get, there's marketing and so, but I feel like if you're a speaker and you're being paid for something, you're going to bring extra. You're going to bring your game. These people are not just like phoning it in, and you're going to get the same thing that they may be giving away elsewhere. This is something that they are really treating as something that is, that they were paid for. It's right. You're going to get something really pro.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really a special event, and an event where people can come out of it going, okay, there were a lot of different things talked about today, but I was able to pinpoint that from my skill set, from my area of knowledge and expertise, and from my audience, this would be the best way for me to go. Let me get it down to these two or one thing, and that's where I then can take what I learned in that session and go back and now I'm going to implement that, because that's where the opportunity. A lot of people don't know where the opportunity is and whether that opportunity fits them. And one of the things that I have in that playbook is I have an article there where I talk about actually how to prepare for the summit and what to look at in terms of determining what your skills are, what your audience is like, what they're interested in. Having all this like in front of you makes it easier to then go, okay, this person's talking about consulting. Not a good fit for me. This person's talking about writing a book. Oh, that could be a fit for my, like, exactly what are you good at? What is your audience interested in? What is your business? You got to get all those things figured out. And you could say, okay, it's simple. I know me, I know my, but no, it's really not that easy when you think about it, because people have said to me over the years, oh, I'm not sure what service you like. And so you have to get that clarity, and we're going to talk about that as well. We have Nancy Ankowitz and Stefan Kaplan are going to talk about doing a branding statement and revising your LinkedIn, because any pitch you do starts out with knowing your own brand and how you can explain that to other people so that they are able to understand what you can do for them, because ultimately that's what people are interested in when they, pay for a product or service. What's in it for them? So I feel like we're covering a lot of ground, and that's the key, is that, attend as much as you can, network, enjoy it, go to the photo booth, go to the expo booth, learn about some products, set appointments, network with people you're interested in, but go to those sessions, do a little bit of pre-work, and then go to those sessions that you think are a good fit for your knowledge, your skills, and your audience, and that's where you'll get the most value out of the summit.
Quick question, Ross. Barb
Sure.
asked, Barb Tomlin's watching. It's great to see Barb. Is the playbook been updated for the new speakers?
It will be either emailed today or tomorrow with the new speakers and the new sponsor. So there'll be some new information in there.
Perfect. Great. This has been awesome. I mean, I know we've been trying to get you on here for a while, Ross, but this has just been amazing. You've provided so much knowledge. I know for me, inspiration to continue to do this, and looking forward to.
Well,
to the
I
15.
had a blast, guys. I mean, this is so much fun. I laughed so much, and we also got into some pretty deep topics about live streaming.
If you want to laugh, you have to catch Dealcasters After Dark sometime. That's when we get a little crazy.
And that's on Amazon Live too?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I became infamous because Utechpia, if you ever watch his show, he's always like live. Basically, he's working out with. He either has like a stick, keyboard, but he's just wearing his shorts, right? Because he's a workout guy. And he said that they wouldn't approve his videos on Amazon because he took his shirt off. And so I said, well, I'm going to stand with Utechpia. And I don't know what I was thinking. I took my shirt off, and I haven't lived it down since. And so someday Chris is going to have to take his shirt off on a live stream to make me feel better.
Oh, yeah. Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Utechpia is in the chat. He wants to know how he can get more Ross Brand. And so it's, I guess, Livestream Universe is where people will go.
That's one place. I would say join the Facebook group right now. It's my first Facebook group, and that's where we're spending time talking about the event, and then the conversation will continue after the event. But just all things live streaming and monetization. It's called Monetize Livestreaming now. See, it's a mouthful for me. So I've been using facebook.com/groups/monetize live. So at Monetize Live or Monetize Live is probably the easiest way to find it. And if not, just send me a message anywhere on social or email me or whatever.
We're actually connected with him. I'll send him an invite to the group, and then if he passes the Ross Brand questions, then he can be let in.
Yeah, there are no questions. Come on in.
All right, I've got one last easy question for Ross Brand.
Right.
Live stream, one word or two?
Wow. So I started with it as one word. I'll tell you why. Startup, right, was start and up. Then it became start dash up. And finally just became a startup as one word. So I figured live streaming would go that way. And so I started doing it as one word. A lot of people did it as two words. And I did that for a few years. And then it dawned on me that it kind of looks better in a headline, on a graphic, when you split it up. It's just easier to digest. So I did that for a long time. But I didn't want to have 4 words in the title of this event. It's already kind of long, Monetize Live Streaming now. So I went with the 3 words. So now I'm back to using live streaming mostly as one word. But I will still throw it in as 2 words because there's that Google thing and, that YouTube algorithm and all that. And I think using it as 2 words is a little more search friendly, but that I would have to consult with an SEO expert on that. So I think a lot of publications are using it as one word. Like a lot of news organizations are doing it as one word, but you see 2 words a lot. I mean, I even got to the point where it's called Livestream Universe, 2 words, right? I even started writing Livestream, not the company, but when I would say I'm going to live stream later or something, I even started writing that as 2 words at one point, and that I thought I'd never do. But so I'm back in the camp of one, at least for a little while, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, it's one as a hashtag, right?
Yeah. Oh, the hashtag's always
got no choice, right? Yeah, and so the chat is like team one word. So
excellent. Excellent.
I think we're going with one word. We've decided it here. This is the moment where live stream becomes one word. But
yeah, I moved off. I moved off of it for a while, but I'm back in the one word camp, and I'm with my peeps here, so it's all good.
So Ross, final question from me.
Sure.
Because you're definitely, like I said, you've been doing this for quite a while. What do you see as the future of live streaming? Do you like the direction it's going? What are some things you think you could see maybe coming up in, say, the next year that people should be considering and thinking about?
I think what you guys are doing and where you're doing it is where the future is going. It may not be Amazon Live, but it's certainly the merger of e-commerce and live streaming. And Amazon, you've got that cart there, that carousel, right? You can click on the item while you're watching the live stream, it goes right into your cart, you buy. I think that's coming in some capacity to every platform, and those that don't have it are going to start to fall behind. It's going to be expected. I think it's, it's like Super Chat on steroids, right? Now you're not just tipping, although I think there'll be plenty of opportunities for that, or you're not just buying a small membership, you are buying all different types of products, everything from 99 cents to $999 and 9,000, whatever. Like, I think that's where it's going. Like, shopping is, okay, I want to learn about the product, not going to the store, waiting for a salesperson, asking questions. They ask you questions. They assume they know what you want to know, and you go through that dance. I think it's going to be like, I'm interested in shopping at Dealcasters. When are Jim and Chris going live? They'll probably talk about that new product that came in or whatever, and I'll just watch them and see if it sounds like something that would work for me or not. I think we're going that way. It'll always be like, you'll lead with entertainment, you'll lead with conversation, but I shouldn't say always. I'm saying that'll always be a part of what live streaming is, right? It'll always be conversations and content. And selling is content too. But I think it's going to get to the point where you'll just tune in because somebody will just be like, this is the new gear. And it won't be like I'm doing an unboxing and you watch it and it's entertaining as I flub through and I try and figure out what this piece is and how, But it'll be more like, I just tried this. It's amazing. Not just a review where you then go to the store and buy it or you buy it with my affiliate link, but like you fall in love with the product right away. Like I'm sure you guys have done this too. Like somebody describes some service or something like, oh, this will send your emails from the moon to Mars or whatever and then get set, and you're like, that sounds kind of good. Let me sign up for that. And so it's the same thing with live streaming, but I think it'll be everything from everyday products to even premium high-ticket items. But we'll see. We'll have to see how that develops. Usually I'm the one asking for predictions.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. And I was honored to be on your prediction show last year. But I will say, definitely for those of you that have unmuted, you need to follow this man everywhere he's at because he is definitely in the know. He gets out ahead of things. I know I continue to learn from you, Ross. Appreciate your friendship. Appreciate you joining us and excited for what you're doing with Monetize Live.video.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. This was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it and look forward to doing more shows together and this is just a blast. So thank you for having me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks, Ross. And for those of you who've just joined us, I see a bunch. I see Christina Nietzsche's and Barb, who's also an Amazon Live influencer, has joined, as well as Ryan Utechbia. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. If you guys have not gotten your free ticket and the upcoming playbook, brand new playbook being adjusted right now by Ross Brand to be delivered into your inbox, go to monetizelive.video. That thing is going to be May 15th, chock full of amazing speakers on all types of fronts to be able to monetize your live stream. Thanks as always. Thanks my partner Jim in crime for a great show, and Ross Brand. Thank you once again for the reason why we're here. We appreciate it. And as always, don't fear the gear.